Good evening and welcome to the Newshour Special Edition. I'm Madhavdas GK. Viewers, pictures speak louder than words, and what we witnessed today was nothing short of historic. It was Prime Minister Narendra Modi's first interaction with the chief of the RSS in Nagpur after he took over as the PM, where he heaped praise on Mohan Bhagwat on stage. Remember, the Prime Minister was introduced to the organization at the age of 8 and has been attending its local shakhas for decades before he took over as the Prime Minister of India. Today, as he visited Nagpur, he paid tribute to the founders of the RSS, including Hedgewar as well as MS Golwalkar. The PM also described RSS as the foundation of India's immortal culture and modernization.
हमारा राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ भी एक ऐसा संस्कार यज्ञ है जो अंतर्दृष्टि और बाह्य दृष्टि दोनों के लिए काम कर रहा है और अंतर्दृष्टि ने संघ को सेवा का पर्याय बना दिया है। गुलामी की निशानियों को जिस हीन भावना में 70 वर्षों से डोया जा रहा था, उनकी जगह अब राष्ट्रीय गौरव के नए अध्याय लिखे जा रहे हैं। जो विचार बीज 100 साल पहले बोला गया, वो महान वटवृक्ष के रूप में आज दुनिया के सामने है। राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ भारत की अमर संस्कृति का आधुनिक अक्षय वट है।
However, the opposition soon sensed an opportunity to target the Prime Minister. Citing the Lok Sabha result, opposition says the same party that predicted a 400 par mandate in Lok Sabha polls was cut to size by the RSS. Not just that, the India bloc also claimed that RSS has reduced Narendra Modi to a puppet Prime Minister and asks whether the centre will shift the capital to Nagpur next.
तो यही मोदी जी है जो कह रहे थे कि बिना संघ के बाद बिना संघ की मदद से 400 पार करेंगे। हाँ, ऐसा उनका कहना था।
तो नहीं हो गया ना। मोदी जी ने कहा था, नड्डा जी ने कहा था, सब हवा में थे, तो संघ ने उनकी हवा निकाल दी।
आरएसएस के चीफ ने कई बातें अच्छी बात किया कि हर मस्जिद के नीचे मंदिर ढूंढना बंद करो। आप कहिए इनसे कि राजधर्म निभाओ। इस देश में मुसलमान संविधान के मुताबिक रहता है। आप मुसलमानों को रहने का जो हक है ना, वो छीना जा रहा है। कम से कम इस पर डिस्कशन होना चाहिए।
12 साल के बाद में नरेंद्र जी मोदी साहब वहां पे जा रहे हैं और मुझे लगता है कि भाजपा को अभी पता चल गया हो कि हम लोग चुनाव आरएसएस की वजह से जीता था।
चुनाव के पहले नड्डा साहब ने कहा था कि अब हमें आरएसएस की जरूरत नहीं है, बीजेपी का सांगठनिक ढांचा बहुत मजबूत हो गया है। लेकिन मुझे लगता है उसके बाद एहसास हुआ होगा कि 240 सीटों पर बीजेपी रुक गई, तो अब फिर से आरएसएस को मिला के या उनको खुश करके या उनके साथ मिलकर काम करना चाहते हैं।
All right, let's take this across to our guest now. Joining us is Sanju Verma, BJP National Spokesperson, Professor Rakesh Sinha's author and former Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament. We have Krishna Hegde, spokesperson of the Shiv Sena, joining us. Advocate Kapil Madan is a political analyst with us. Also with us is IP Singh, SP's national spokesperson, who made some of those controversial remarks that we saw earlier today as well. But let me start first and foremost with Professor Rakesh Sinha. Professor Rakesh Sinha, we all know the kind of reports that we saw during the Lok Sabha elections. There were certain statements that were made by JP Nadda. There were statements that were made by Sunil Ambekar. Should we now, with this visit of the Prime Minister to Nagpur, say that those differences that were very widely reported of the BJP and the RSS not being on the same page, that all of that is now a thing of the past, and now it's the roadmap ahead? For instance, who would be the next BJP president that the two would want to go along, work together with?
There is a fundamental unity between BJP and RSS on the question of ideas and thoughts. We are ideological movement, a purely ideological movement, and we have one purpose, one objective, and we are working in different fields. As far as BJP and RSS relationship is concerned, there are two important points. One, that Bharatiya Janata Party is an autonomous political organization. It does not need day-to-day guidance from any organization. That RSS made it very clear. And if RSS would intervene everyday activity, it would be damaging for the RSS. RSS understand. RSS is a purely socio-cultural organization. Its ideological sibling is BJP. Another important thing is that whatever the statements in the past that had been clarified by the Bharatiya Janata Party and Sangh leadership, that has no locus standi now. The second important point is that the Bharatiya Janata Party has been working for the last 11 years when Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji had taken over the reins of the power, purely ideological objective that he mentioned today, decolonization of the Indian mind, that is very important thing. The signs, symbols and the legacy of the past, the colonial past, the Mughal past are being removed. That is very important thing. India is rectifying. India is regaining its glorious past in the context of the bright future. Therefore, I consider that there is no differences on ideological question. As far as behavioral pattern is concerned, you know, the political party has its own dynamics and socio-cultural organization has the dynamics. So the statements, the explanation, articulation cannot be similar and common.
Okay.
Both have different ways.
Well, I largely agree with what you said, Mr. Sinha over there, but there is one point of difference. You said they are ideological siblings. Perhaps that's where the issue is. Who's the bigger sibling? And, I'm just quoting what Mr. JP Nadda said last year, which had caused that controversy. This is what his exact statement was. शुरू में हम अक्षम होंगे, थोड़ा कम होंगे, आरएसएस की जरूरत पड़ती थी, आज हम बढ़ गए हैं, सक्षम हैं, तो बीजेपी अपने आप को चलाती है. And let me put that question to Sanju Verma, who's a BJP spokesperson with us right here on the panel. Sanju Verma, this statement many saw as a sign of the BJP saying that it had outgrown the requirement of RSS, and we saw what happened in the Lok Sabha polls. The later assembly polls have shown RSS once again has worked, and that has proved to be one of the reasons for BJP's success. So is that a very important lesson that perhaps has been learnt in the past 12 months?
Madhav, much as I would have liked not to say this, I think in the case of BJP, it is a classic case of damned if you do, damned if you don't. जब प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी नागपुर नहीं गए थे, तो बार-बार लगातार यही सवाल उठता था विपक्ष के मन में, अरे नागपुर कब जाएंगे? अरे मोहन भागवत जी और नरेंद्र मोदी जी का आमने सामने कब वार्तालाप और मिलन होगा? आज जब नरेंद्र मोदी जी स्मृति मंदिर में जाकर हेडगेवर जी को उन्होंने ओबीसांस दिया, जब आज जाकर दीक्षा भूमि पर ही इज रिमेंबर्ड द लेगेसी ऑफ बी आर अम्बेडकर, तब भी ऑपोजिशन के पेट में मरोड़ उठ रहा है, तब भी ऑपोजिशन के पेट में दर्द हो रहा है. आई वुड सिंपली लाइक टू से दिस. Anybody who knows politics, especially Narendra Modi, and Madhav, you're a seasoned anchor. I don't think Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a leader whom you can put a gun to his head to and say, ab ye kariye ya ye na kariye. So point number one, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is very much his own person. Point number two, let nobody forget that Prime Minister Modi has always been a pracharak and a Swayamsevak. And this was reinforced today by Devendra Fadnavis in as many words. He said, चाहे नागपुर में आना हुआ या ना हुआ, पर नरेंद्र मोदी जी हमेशा से एक स्वयंसेवक और प्रचारक रहे हैं. Nobody can take that away from him. Point number three, I agree with Mr. Sinha when he says that, RSS and BJP are ideological siblings, but more importantly, there is always an arm's length. There is no conflict of interest. They work in tandem. And I say, if we have a strong ideological mooring by way of having the RSS as an anchor, as an ideological moor, what is the big deal? Shouldn't a political party have strong ideological moorings? Tell me, does Congress have an ideology? No. Does
of course, there's no doubt about that. But my question still remains unanswered. Who's the elder sibling?
I think both siblings have their own roles and responsibilities cut out. And they seem to be working harmoniously together, Madhav.
Okay. Rakesh Sinha wants to answer that. Quick comment, Professor Sinha.
No, there is no ambiguity that RSS is a parent organization. RSS was founded in 1925 with a mission and objective and with a particular value system. And the BJP shares that value system like other 35 organizations. But being in democracy, political party has its own role, its own way of functioning. Therefore, a BJP can't be compared like other mass organization or the cadre organization of the RSS. But at the same time, it is very clear there is no ambiguity in the mind of the Swayamsevak or the BJP worker that RSS is lesser or equal. RSS is a parent organization. BJP is a part of the ideological movement. So we are very clear and categorical in this regard.
Okay, there's clarity on that regard. Well, thank you for that response there. But let me bring in IP Singh. IP Singh, you know, अगर प्राइम मिनिस्टर चाहते हैं कि वो नागपुर जाए, संजू वर्मा कहती है वी आर डैम्ड इफ यू डू, वी आर डैम्ड इफ यू डोंट, लेकिन आपकी जो टिप्पणी है कि पीएमओ हेडक्वार्टर्स को वहां नागपुर में कर देना चाहिए, मतलब ये कैसा कमेंट है सर? क्योंकि अगर पीएम को पूरा अधिकार है, वो किससे मिलना चाहते हैं, कहाँ जाना चाहते हैं इस देश के अंदर, he has every right to do what he wants to. How can you take that right away from him, Mr. IP Singh?
देखिए, आज डॉक्टर हेडगेवार जी की जयंती है, शताब्दी वर्ष चल रहा है, और जो बीजेपी सरकार है, बीजेपी जो है उसके जो 68 अनुषंगिक संगठन है उसमें से एक है। तो बीजेपी सरकार मुखौटा है, प्रधानमंत्री जी आरएसएस का मुखौटा है। तो जब देश की गवर्नेंस जो बीजेपी सरकार है वो नागपुर से चल रही है, तो नागपुर में उन्हें हेडक्वार्टर बनाना चाहिए।
से बताइए,
इस बात को हमने कहा है।
कैसे चल रही है नागपुर से? कुछ यू हैव मेड एन एलिगेशन, नाउ प्रूव द पॉइंट। अगर वो 10 साल में या 11 साल में पहली बार नागपुर जा रहे हैं, तो इसका ये मतलब है सरकार नागपुर से चल रही है।
सुन लीजिए ना, अरे जाने से क्या मतलब है? आज के दौर में टेक्नोलॉजिकल युग है, 25 वर्ष से ज्यादा हो गए, टेक्नोलॉजी का लगातार विस्तार हो रहा है, जाने की क्या जरूरत है? ये तो संघ शुरू से कहता रहा है।
पर आपकी कमेंट तो आज आ रही है ना सर,
होता है
तो आप आज ये कह रहे हैं।
डॉक्टर मोहन भागवत जी ने कहा, एक मिनट, डॉक्टर मोहन भागवत जी ने कहा कि अब देश में मस्जिदों के नीचे मंदिर ढूंढना बीजेपी के लोग बंद करें। तो मैं तो यही कहूंगा कि अगर प्रधानमंत्री जी उनसे मिलने गए तो उन्हें कान में बात शताब्दी वर्ष में जरूर फूंकना चाहिए कि देश में जो मुस्लिम समाज है, आज मैं सभी मुस्लिम भाइयों को, पूरे देश में जो मुस्लिम भाई बहन हैं, उन्हें मैं ईद की मुबारकबाद देना चाहता हूं। मैं चाहता हूं कि जो पैनलिस्ट हैं वो भी नवरात्रि की भी बधाई दे और ईद की भी बधाई दे। मैं भी व्रत में हूं, मैं समझता हूं कि जो मुस्लिम भाई है वो भी व्रत में है, और मैं समझता हूं कि जो पैनल में लोग बैठे हुए लोग हैं वो भी हैं। तो खुशहाली से हम दोनों त्योहार बनाएं।
बिल्कुल, दोनों त्योहार मानना चाहिए। लेकिन आईपी सिंह जी थोड़ा सा हम सब्जेक्ट से हट रहे हैं, इसलिए मैं आपको सवाल एक पूछना चाहूंगा। 23 मार्च को सवाल सुन लीजिए। 23 मार्च को समाजवादी पार्टी के चीफ है अखिलेश यादव, वो गए थे डॉक्टर राम मनोहर लोहिया की उनकी जो बर्थ एनिवर्सरी है वहां पे लखनऊ में, ही पेड ए ट्रिब्यूट टू राम मनोहर लोहिया। और अगर वो ट्रिब्यूट दे सकते हैं तो यहां पर अगर केवी हेडगेवार को ये ट्रिब्यूट दे रहे हैं प्राइम मिनिस्टर, तो क्या गलत है?
वही है कि डॉक्टर राम मनोहर लोहिया जी में और आरएसएस में जमीन आसमान का फर्क है।
अच्छा।
वो डॉक्टर राम मनोहर लोहिया जी वो व्यक्ति थे कि रामायण मेला लगवाते थे। उनका कहना था कि रामायण मेला लगना चाहिए जिससे कि भगवान राम जो जंगलों में रहे, जो वन भटके, उनके साथ कौन था? उनके साथ पीडीए था, दलित वंचित शोषित समाज था, जिसे आज पूरी।
I want Sanju Verma to respond to this. Sanju Verma, there's a difference between Ram Manohar Lohia and KB Hedgewar.
आज उत्तर प्रदेश।
One second, IP सिंह आपने स्टेटमेंट दिया, अब जवाब सुन लीजिए।
You know, to the Samajwadi Party, I would just say this. You know, debate after debate, Madhav, टेलीविजन स्टूडियो के भीतर प्राइम टाइम टेलीविजन के शोज पर ये लोग दुहाई देते हैं राम मनोहर।
आईपी सिंह जी सुन लीजिए, आपने सवाल पूछा, आपको पूरा मौका दिया गया, दूसरों को भी सुनिए प्लीज, वन बाय वन। लेट्स नॉट डू दिस।
थैंक यू।
संजू वर्मा,
यहाँ टेलीविजन स्टूडियोज पर राम मनोहर लोहिया की दुहाई दी जाती है। समाजवादी पार्टी के प्रवक्ता राम मनोहर लोहिया की लेगेसी को याद करते हैं, बट जमीनी स्तर पर आई थिंक राम मनोहर लोहिया की लेगेसी की धज्जियां यदि किसी ने उड़ाई हैं तो वो आज की डेट में अखिलेश यादव हैं, और उनके पहले उनके पिताश्री मुलायम सिंह यादव थे। पहली बात। दूसरी बात, आई थिंक प्रोफेसर सिन्हा विल corroborate this, but RSS is the world's largest, the biggest NGO, and I say this with a lot of responsibility. There are more than 24,000 Saraswati Sishu Mandir and more than 27,000 Vidya Bharati schools, which give free education to more than 45 lakh, that is more than 4.5 million children, including more than 20 lakh tribal students from extremely poor and vulnerable families. Then you have the RSS's arm called Muslim Rashtra Manch. जितना मुसलमानों के लिए आरएसएस की आउटफिट मुस्लिम राष्ट्र मंच ने किया है, उतना समाजवादी पार्टी ने नहीं किया। आप तो सिर्फ मुसलमानों को वोट बैंक पॉलिटिक्स और अपीजमेंट पॉलिटिक्स के तहत बरगलाने का काम करते आ रहे हैं। इसलिए यहां बैठकर सेक्युलरिज्म का और जो हिंदू मुस्लिम के बीच में आप डिवाइड पैदा करने की कोशिश करते हैं, ये नैरेटिव से दूर हटिए। नो वंडर इन 3 लोकसभा इलेक्शंस समाजवादी पार्टीज total from Uttar Pradesh was 47 seats, BJP's was 171 seats from Uttar Pradesh alone. And like I say, numbers never lie.
Okay, let me bring in Kapil Madan on this. Kapil Madan, the point being made is this, that, there are different ideologies in the country. There is one ideology that is represented by Mr. Lohia. There's another ideology that's represented by Mr. Hedgewar. And they have both had political parties which have followed in their footsteps, and some have been successful at different point of times, others have been successful at different point of times. Rather than accepting that, to try and, find fault with smaller things like this, isn't that really missing the woods for the trees?
So, Madhav, let me say this, you would appreciate, it's an admitted fact that during the first and the second tenure of the Honorable Prime Minister, he never visited RSS office. And, let me just take what Sanju is saying, and Sanju's argument is, mutually destructive, because she is saying that, these are the two entities which are, ideological partners. These are ideological siblings. If that be the case, why is it that, it is only after a period of 12 years you would take an effort to go there? And let me give you some context to what I'm saying. Now, you would recall, Madhav, and you can do a fact check me on this. After 2024 election, when BJP could not get the majority mark, it was the RSS chief, Mohan Bhagwat ji, he made a remark wherein he said a leader should not be arrogant. Now, I ask a question to Sanju here and to all the panelists here. When Mr. Hedgewar was making this statement, it is absolutely certain that he was not referring to anyone.
Hedgewar made a statement.
I'm so sorry. Mr. Mohan Bhagwat made this statement.
Okay.
Please, thank you for correcting. Thank you for correcting me. Thank you for correcting. मैं इंसान हूँ, माधव, मेरे से हो जाती है गलती, unlike some, other people who don't admit.
Okay, apology accepted. Please continue.
Nevertheless. Now, I asked Sanju Verma here, when he makes this kind of a remark, whom he was referring to. That's point number one. Point number two is, when we saw our Honorable Prime Minister election campaign, that was continuously one after the other was making statement targeting a particular community. And if you look at the statement made by Mr. Mohan Bhagwat ji in the past, I mean, one of the panelists also said that, we should stop locating for temples beneath mosque. And in fact, he has also made a remark that, these are not true leaders who are against any particular community, who are making, adverse remarks any particular community. Now, if you take all these, relevant facts together, it only points out to one thing, that there is an apparent, or you can, reasonably form an opinion that there appears to be some rift within BJP and RSS. And perhaps that's the reason why, after 12 years, our Honorable Prime Minister is compelled to visit RSS to, make, relationships, better. Or to, improve the, broken ties, etc.
Okay.
There is no rocket science in understanding this. This is
many hands going up to answer that. Many hands going up to answer that. I'm going to come to both of you one by one. First, Rakesh Sinha, then to Sanju Verma.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been proved as a pioneer of cultural nationalism. The credit goes to him that just after coming to power, he reached to United Nations and yoga was declared, International Yoga Day was declared. He mobilized the international public opinion. But Madhav, at the same time, I would like to say that in India, I was debating on different channels that it was a communal stance of the Prime Minister Modi, it was against Muslims. Prime Minister Modi should be given credit that he had removed 1700 colonial laws who were very retrogressive and coercive against the Indian people. So there are many instances, I can't count even in the hours. But what I want to say that Dr. Hedgewar, today is his birthday. I am telling you that he was one of the persons who challenged the British imperialism. That is a instance of micro level challenging the British imperialism by a very common man. Doctor, he was a very common man. He was a doctor by profession. He dedicated his life due to dedication, sacrifice, and the high perspective that he became a great man, that his shadow is increasing. I am giving just one instance. In his court, when 1920 during non-cooperation movement he was arrested, in the court before going to jail, he pleaded his case in almost more than dozens appearances in the court. He said, which law allow you to come in India and rule being the aliens? He challenged the Britishers, he challenged the court. And his speeches, his trial speeches were published in Maharashtra, the Marathi paper, Kesari, the Marathi paper, Maratha and all other young Hindu patriots. And it created a huge impact. That's why the judge remarked, your defense is more seditious than your original crime. That Hedgewar, and as far as Ram Manohar Lohia is concerned, he came closer to Bharatiya Janasangh, and Deen Dayal Upadhyay and Ram Manohar Lohia were pioneer of the non-congressism 1967. Okay. I would like that Akhilesh Yadav should revive the Ramayana Mela and should invite the Muslims to come. Ramayana Mela is secular. If Muslims are not coming to us, kindly allow Muslims to come to Ramayana Mela. Then you will get the test.
Okay, I'm going to have a quick response from IP Singh before I come to you, Sanjay. Yes, IP Singh, जवाब दीजिए. रामायण मेला को वापस लेकर आएगी समाजवादी पार्टी की सरकार, जैसे राकेश सिन्हा कह रही है, सेक्युलर इवेंट है.
आप देश में आप उत्पीड़न बंद करिए, जो डबल स्टैंडर्ड है, जो मुखौटा है, उसको उतार के फेंकिए. अगर आपको देश में सरकार चलानी है तो आप कहते हैं सबका साथ सबका विकास, और आप कौन ऐसा हिंदू त्योहार है जो सड़कों पर निकल कर नहीं होता है? क्या दुर्गा पूजा नहीं होती? क्या राकेश सिन्हा जी बताएंगे पश्चिम बंगाल, बिहार और पूर्वी उत्तर प्रदेश से लेकर पूरे देश में क्या दुर्गा पूजा सड़कों पर नहीं होती है? क्या भाईचारा में, क्या सबका साथ सबका विकास में अगर ईद पर लोग सड़कों पर निकलकर अगर नमाज अदा करते हैं तो कौन सा तूफान आ जाएगा? ये भी नहीं कि दिन भर चलने वाला ये त्योहार है, ये तो 1-2 घंटे में नमाज अदा हो जाती है. आप देखिए ना, आज उत्तर प्रदेश में तमाम लोग तलवार से काट देने की बात कर रहे हैं. हमारे जो सांसद हैं राम जी, उनको लेके कितनी बातें कही जा रही है उत्तर प्रदेश में.
IP Singh ji, let's go one by one. Sanju Verma, the same thing that happens in Eid happens in Hindu festivals according to the Samajwadi Party spokesperson. Your response to him?
You know, Madhav, first and foremost, let's get one thing very clear. I have not seen any Hindu, and I stay in Maharashtra, where the Bombay High Court verdict is being flouted with rabid impunity in many Muslim dominant areas. बॉम्बे हाईकोर्ट ने क्लियरली कहा है रात के 10 बजे से लेकर सुबह के 6 बजे तक यू विल नॉट हैव आजान ब्लेयरिंग फ्रॉम लाउड स्पीकर्स. बट कुछ लोग हैं एक सर्टेन जमात के जो बॉम्बे हाईकोर्ट के वर्डिक्ट को मानने से इंकार करते हैं. हिंदू ऐसा नहीं करते. हम सरस्वती पूजा, रामनवमी, दिवाली, होली, रक्षाबंधन मनाते हैं, पर हम ये नहीं कहते कि हमें बिना कोई रोक टोक के हर चौथे दिन आकर रेलवे ट्रैक पर, सड़कों के बीच में, हाईवे के बीच में, एक्सप्रेसवे के बीच में हमें ग्रंथ पढ़ना है या राम भगवान का पूजन करना है. सो रीडिंग नमाज ऑन द रोड्स इज अनएक्सेप्टेबल. गेट दैट लाउड एंड क्लियर. बट मोर इंपॉर्टेंटली, लेट मी से दिस, किसी हिंदू संस्था ने आज तक ये नहीं कहा पार्लियामेंट बिल्डिंग भी हमारी है, इंदिरा गांधी इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट भी हमारा है, ईडन गार्डन भी हमारा है, और 2000 साल पुराना एक मंदिर कावेरी रिवर पर वो भी हमारा है, जबकि इस्लाम इज ओनली 1400 years old. ये आपका वक्फ बोर्ड कहता है. बट माय लास्ट पॉइंट, Madhav, just 10 seconds to what Kapil Madan said. He made a statement that Mohan Bhagwat had called a particular leader as arrogant, and Kapil Madan insinuated that that was meant for Narendra Modi. मैं बोलती हूँ, पहले की बात भूलिए, आज मोहन भागवत ने क्या कहा 10 सेकंड में. Madhav, your audience needs to hear this. Addressing the audience at Madhav Netralaya event, and this is, I'm reading out from Times of India's article, a couple of hours back. There are many auspicious things today. It's the Hindu New Year, birthday of Dr. Saheb, as in Dr. Hedgewar. This hospital is named after the second Sar Sanchalak, Madhav Golwalkar, and the PM's presence. For a confluence of such auspicious events to happen on a single day, you have to work very hard. And I would, without wasting your time any further, he tells the audience, I will not stand anymore between you and Prime Minister Narendra Modi because I am also very eager to listen to him as he has played a spectacular role in nation building. ये मोहन भागवत जी ने प्रधानमंत्री मोदी की प्रशंसा में शब्द कहे जो कपिल मदान ने नहीं सुने.
Okay, let me just bring in Krishna Hegde now. He's not yet spoken. Krishna Hegde, very quickly, this is what Abu Azmi has said of the Samajwadi Party. He's talking about RSS प्रमुख मोहन भागवत से अपील है कि जिस तरह उन्होंने कहा कि हर मस्जिद के नीचे मंदिर ढूंढना ठीक नहीं है, तो ऐसे ही मोहन भागवत जी पीएम को समझाए कि भारत पर मुसलमान का भी अधिकार है, उनका भी हक है, इसलिए मुसलमानों को परेशान करना बंद करें. How do you read these kind of comments coming in? At the end of the day, what may have been said by Mr. Mohan Bhagwat may have been in a certain context, but is it correct to, extrapolate it to every context?
Madhav, first of all, we don't need any lessons from a person like Abu Azmi, who says that Bharat ke teen tukde karo, and then he goes on to glorify Aurangzeb in comparison to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and Chhatrapati Sambhaji Raje Maharaj. Secondly, the Samajwadi spokesperson was giving a lot of sermons here. These are the same people who fired bullets and killed so many car sevaks and ram bhakts. And we don't want any, teachings from them on how to conduct the country. I am very sure, and I think that is why our country has voted Prime Minister Honorable Narendra Modi ji for the third time, because they know of a Modi guarantee. And therefore, whoever has said, a couple of fringe opposition elements and leaders have said given some statements today, we do not take these seriously. We are heading towards a Viksit Bharat. I also remember, a Congress leader saying, first of all, they should introspect into their own party why they have lost 90 elections under the leadership of Rahul Gandhi. Okay. And then talk about Narendra Modi ji. Narendra Modi ji, as we have seen, has taken the country forward in all ways, and today India is a world leader.
We'll have to leave it there. We'll have to leave it there, Krishna Hegde. Completely out of time on debate number 1. I'd like to thank you, as well as Sanju Verma and Kapil Madan and IP Singh for joining us. Of course, the very, very important visit. Implications are there for the next BJP president, as well as, of course, with the RSS and BJP work together. We've seen the difference it's made on ground in various state assembly elections, including Haryana, Maharashtra, etc. And perhaps this is going to set the template for the next Lok Sabha election as well. Thanks so much for joining us on debate number 1.